Morning everyone. Today here is Devdeep sir in front of you presenting for you the lecture Data Handling in Pandas. Now in today's session we are going to have a look at Overview of Pandas and Series. Now if you like this session you can give feedback to me upon the above mentioned email given below. So without further ado, let's start our class. So let's have a look at the topics that we are going to have in store for us. First up, we are going to have a look at Introduction to Pandas library. Then we are going to introduce you with the Matplotlib library, the two basic fundamental libraries that is required for data science in the chapter Data Handling using Pandas. Then we are going to have a look at the features of Pandas. Followed by that, there is a software through which we can use Pandas, which is Anaconda, and we are going to have a look at that as well. So, my dear students, after installing Anaconda, it is also very important that we set up the Pandas library for further use. So, I hope I've made myself clear regarding the session that is being addressed, that we are going to have a look at the Pandas environment along with Anaconda libraries. After having completed the module up to this portion, we'll have a look at the main data structure, that is Pandas series, followed by data frame. And in our main module, the main objective will be to understand more about how Pandas series is developed with appropriate syntax, and also at the end how we can solve the board questions from the required topic. Now, if we see the first topic up, that is Introduction to Pandas libraries. What is Pandas basically? Now, children, let me tell you, Pandas has a full form. The full form of Pandas is P for panel, D for data, and S for structure. So panel data structure, that is the full form of Pandas that is present here, and that is very important for developing this Pandas data structure. The full form that shows how panel data can be stored. Now what is panel here means? Panel refers to any frame of data, how we can store data or instruction carefully. Alright. Now panel data structures are very flexible. It helps us to import data in an organized architecture. The main tool of Pandas library is then we use it for data analysis and data visualization. So I would like to recap once again that what we have learned, Pandas is basically an architecture of data where we are storing the data in the form of panel, which means organization, and we are storing multiple forms of data in this library. Now, as we are doing analysis of data, it is also important to represent it. Which library helps us to do that? Well, it's the Matplotlib library which helps us to do that. If we look at the learning objective here is to understand the Matplotlib library, and we use graphs and required analysis to understand it. If you are able to complete the objective of learning, then your success criteria will be that you will be efficiently able to analyze data and represent the same. Matplotlib is a comprehensive library for creating graphs, and these graphs are created through analysis using Pandas. So the main objective of Matplotlib library here is to develop quality graphs with just few lines of code, and that makes it it's an interesting tool that we can create different types of graphs with just few lines of code, and also you can even precisely zoom and pan the graph searching for different data, and also even filtering out data if necessary. So we can also customize it, like you can change the nature of the graph, you can put on labels accordingly, so that also can be done. Apart from that, let's now have a look at the features that are needed. And before we get down to this, students, you might be wondering that what is the full form of matplotlib. The main full form of matplotlib is Mathematical Plotting Library. You all can take note. Matplotlib, the full form goes like this. It stands for M for mathematical, P for plotting, and L for library. Okay, so this is the full form of matplotlib. Moving on. So what are the features that makes pandas really viable? That's our learning objective. And if you understand these features, I'm sure your main success criteria will definitely be how you can analyze these features and thereby create further data analysis tools. So the first feature is that it helps us to group and join data. And it even supports different forms of data. As I told you, it can support data which is of float type, it can support data which is of integer type, and it can even support data which is of string type. So therefore, basically it supports two different forms of data, homogeneous and heterogeneous likewise. Good I/O capabilities are there, so therefore we can incorporate with MySQL database to filter data, and also at the same time pandas can be extensively used with matplotlib to visualize data. Apart from that, we can even search for missing data, you can even do the statistical analysis of data, and you can access data using slicing, indexing. So basically pandas empowers us to filter, access, represent, and also basically store different forms of data, thereby making it a very viable tool in the modern world today to develop application, software, and many other tools. Let's move to the next topic, where we will be looking at how we can set up the pandas environment. Now, to set up the pandas environment, the main important code we need is pip. Now, what is a pip? Pip stands for, please note down the full forms everyone. Pip stands for P for preferred, P for preferred, I for install, and P for package. So preferred, install, package, basically pip are meant to basically use the commands so that we can store data. And pip is basically also used to install different libraries, and mainly the command that will help you to install pip is, we can see here there are different requirements needed for pandas to be set up. First, you have to check your service pack or the Android version. If you are using Android, you have to check your Android version. If you have to check your Windows, you must check your service pack, the latest version of Windows, and also the latest version of Python that you are using. So now I was talking about the commands. We must use cmd or any Linux script terminal to install these commands. The command to install pandas is pip install pandas. You can see at the bottom given here, pip install pandas is the command that we use for installing pandas. Whereas if we want to install another library that helps us to do numerical analysis, you install a library called NumPy. The full form of NumPy is NUM for numerical, Py for Python. I repeat once again, NUM for numerical, Py for Python. And now suppose, as the success criteria is there on this screen, you can see that pandas can be set up quickly to ensure rapid analysis of data. But after installation, we cannot rapidly analyze data if we don't write a command. And the most important command is, once a library is installed, we must utilize it. The code for utilization is called import. So we know by the word import means, in computer diction, it means to add something. So So basically we are adding the pandas library with the alias PD. Now we look at the data structure of pandas, and particularly, as you can see, our learning objective here would be to understand the concept of the first data structure in the pandas environment, which is series. And later on we'll be learning how we can utilize series to store data. So let us have a look at series in detail. So series is one dimensional. That means if you can see by the diagram in the front of you that this stores data in the form of rows. So Pandas series stores data in the form of rows, and here in this example we can see a collection of integers, that is 78, 45, 12, 89, 56 are shown below. They are basically storing the data in the form of indexes. Now, what are indexes? We have done indexes later on in class 11. So, indexes are mainly used for storing data. And in what regard we can store data here? Please all of you look at the screen right now. I'm going to annotate and show you what are indexes. So in class 11 we learned this, that indexes are nothing but they are meant for Yes, so we in class 11 we have learned that indexes are meant for storing the data at required positions, right? So the same goes on here, but here now as we can see we are denoting it by their position. Now indexing starts from 0. So that means unlike that of the other programming languages like in Java where the array index starts from 1, here in Python, indexing starts from 0. That you all have learned in class 11. So in Pandas series also, these indexes will determine the address of value where the Pandas series data will be stored. Let me give you an example. If suppose the Pandas series is denoted by S, so how we are going to store 75 here, 78 here, we are going to store in this way. S of 0 is equal to 78. This is how address of memory is stored. So I hope, my dear children, it is clear to you how we can store data in a Pandas series, and by looking at the data itself, it must be clear that we are storing the data in the form of homogeneous format, because there are same types of data, so it is quite understandable that the nature of data will be homogeneous. And the size is immutable. Size immutable means once you define a Pandas series, it is very impossible to extend the size of it. And values of data are mutable. However, if as per the defined size, you can definitely modify the data of a Pandas series. Now, data frame empowers us with even more. If we look at the learning objective, although quite similar to that of Pandas series, but I would like to add another objective, that if you have more need of data in the form of rows and columns, data frame is the go-to person. If data is to be stored in a tabular format, data frame is ideal. So on learning how to utilize Pandas data frame, you can basically store data in a tabular format, and which is more viable for developing any software in the long run. So as we can see, there are multiple forms of data that is supported. We can see there are numbers, where there are characters. So it's quite understandable what form of data it supports. It supports heterogeneous form of data. However, the main major difference apart from heterogeneity is its size and data are both mutable. That means data frame can be expanded any n number of times. There's no limit. And that also means whenever there is a requirement of storing data in the form of bulk, data frame is again very, very efficient compared to series, because series, as we know, it's immutable. So now we will go in depth about Pandas series. So our learning objective now is to understand the syntax of Pandas series and also the different approaches of creating it. And on successful completion, we will be having the success criteria that as a developer you can even create now data directly from Pandas series by utilizing any raw data that you have into organized information. Now already it has been explained that Pandas series is one dimensional and it supports integer, string, float, different sets of data. Now Pandas series has the syntax where pandas dot series data followed by index d type is present. Now data can be presented in the form of a numpy array, it can be presented in the form of a dictionary, or it can be presented in the form of a scalar value or constant. So now step by step we are going to learn how we can create a Pandas series from the different methods. First up is an empty series. For creating an empty series, it's very easy. You can just write pandas or pd.series and leave it empty. Now children, as of now I have been just showing you the slides, but now I'm like to show you live coding in front of you. Now see, for using pandas, you can obviously use software like Anaconda. In Android also, I would like to show you there are softwares basically like PyDroid, which you can use to create Pandas programs. You can see here there is an app PyDroid 3 we can utilize to create pandas, but however we can also create online pandas efficiently. I'm going to show you that in this whiteboard. So therefore I will first open the browser, and in the browser I will first go to Google and type the link www.google.com. This in a way you can also learn it for yourself, that where you will be able to do pandas coding. And now here just Google out pandas online compiler. You must use this link w3schools.com, and here finally we have reached that software which will help us to create pandas code. Now I'm going to do live coding in front of you. I hope the screen is visible to you all, and let me enlarge the view a bit. So here already we can see that the pandas environment has been set up. So here, as we will be creating pandas series, so first up what we are going to do, we are going to first take a variable art suppose, and we are coding here pd.series. Now remember children, while doing the coding of this pd.series, h should be capital. The letter h should be capital, and I can directly code in this way. After this you need to close the parenthesis here. So we know what basically we have to use. We have to use round bracket here to close the brackets. So basically pd.series, and we can simply write pd.series round bracket close and print the following. Let's try in the PyDroid app once to show you more clearly about it. So suppose we write here import pandas as pd, we write art equals to pd dot series, and you can see we leave it empty like this, and finally print art in this regard. So one moment I print art in the PyDroid app, basically as you know that you have to press the play button to get the output, and you will see that yes, series empty d type object is getting printed. So this is how we can basically create the output through the app portal. So I would like to end the lesson here for creation of Pandas series. In this module, first lecture, we learned how to create Pandas series through the Pandas series outlet, and also at the same time, we also learned the brief overview of what is Pandas series and how we can use Pandas series for future utilities. Thank you.